might think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. You know, I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wanted to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. It's Friday night. It's been a lot going on, man. I've been fighting with being a fan and doing content, man, for the last 2 weeks. And every night I got to prove my love. Man, I hope everybody is doing good out there. I hope that I hope that everything is good for you. I'm not really going to do too much of the curriculum, but I do want to speak to a little bit about, before I get into the whole the video, I do want to speak about the caliber of fans we have today. You know, I remember it, and I'll keep bringing this up, but it was about probably a year ago, give or take, about a year ago. I was telling my old head, I said, man, I know how you be looking at boxing, and I look at boxing in the same vein as you, but we got to understand that boxing has changed. Like that mano stuff, like, yeah, it's there. You can see it in some fighters, but some fighters keep it and maintain it. Some fighters have it before they make it, before that big deal, before they become a house. Some fighters like maintain it no matter what. Some fighters have, that magnetism towards them. Whenever you see them in the ring or do something, like some of them have it, just like anything else, basketball, football, soccer. It's there, but history and changing of the times have made boxing evolve, and it's made boxing fans evolve. So boxing has evolved, and it made boxing fans evolve. And I just the other day I was calling, I said, man, that Earl Spence energy, man, that energy he had, man, when it came down to fighting and getting it on and strap season and the whole man down movement, I was saying, man, that energy is missing in today's boxing. It's there, but I said it was missing. Just the other day, I try to I know it's a lot of crazy energy, especially with yesterday. It was a lot of crazy energy out there. People tend to do certain things, and you might expose yourself to certain energy. So I said, man, I wanted to do one. I was going to do my whole faceless channel thing where I really didn't have a face. And I said, man, I'm not going to contribute no energy to this time. I'm not going to contribute no energy to this time. So I withheld it, but I've been going back looking, man, and I would call them, I wouldn't say it's the glory days. It'd be dated if I said I'm going back to the glory days. I ain't go back to the glory days. But I have been going back to when one time was one time. I've been looking at the fights from a little while ago, man, and the way we were back then. So it was crazy because I saw a show about Spence, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is what, and then I said, Mike, it's a trap. It's a trap, man. It's a trap. I say one about Tank. I said, man, it's a trap. It is a trap, man. Because it's so weird. Like, as a fan, right? As a fan, you could be a fan of somebody, but we in a climate where you just can't stand on being a fan. You gotta answer questions about stuff that you wouldn't know, man. Unless you was related to the dude, man. You gotta be able to defend. I don't know why he hit that old lady in the head at the grocery store. I can't explain it. You know what I'm saying? I know when he was in there with such and such, he did that body work. That's all I know. You know what I'm saying? I can't. So I'm like, it's kind of weird, especially being an Errol Spence fan, because a lot of people want to get off into the stuff between him and Derrick James. I'm like, man, that's not none of my business. You know what I'm saying? It's not none of my business, man. It's not none of my business, man. I want to see the man come back, but I do have my concerns. And if, you don't have a proper trainer, if he's not, in fighting shape and his body's conditioned to the weight and he's been doing the reps, yeah, I have a concern with him getting back in there. Because I remember it was one point in time when I didn't want to see Roy get back in the ring no more, man. I just didn't want to see it. I did not care to see it, man. But who was going to tell Roy not to get back in there? Especially at my age at that time. Like, I know if I was, at that age and that time, then all this stuff wasn't around. But who am I to tell that man not to get back in there? It's like, our posture is going to be that if you get back in there, man, it can't be no excuse. That's why originally I was proud of Earl, man, when he handled the law so gracious. And, he stayed there. He answered the questions. He said that man was a better man. I'm going to get it back. We going to come back. He did all that. He was a soldier. The man had 3 stones. The man, they treat him like nothing, man. Now he's been whatever. I said, man, no, we can't have it both ways, man, because this is a never-ending argument. It happened in July of last year. And I never heard Earl take no credit away from nobody. When he finally did come out and say something about some kind of excuse, I said, here we go. Now, whenever somebody bring that up, I'm not bringing it up, man. You can't explain why. And as a fan, you can't be held accountable as to why somebody would say whatever. Like, you can't check nobody. You can't stop nobody from saying nothing they want to say out their mouth. You can't. Like, I know that. I realize that. But if you want to see a brother be successful, you can't. Man, you pulling that card. Man, that card get pulled on us like every single solitary day, man, with no fail. It's no problem. Nobody has nothing to say. Every day, man, all these, it happens every day. But I'm saying, if you want to see a young guy that's successful, you want to see them continue to be successful. You want to see them to be able to go around and, live their lives and, celebrate their success. Not sit around wilting like lettuce You want to see them active if they are going to treat the sport accordingly. It's just as a fan, we're going to hold them to the standard. If you get in there, that's what the fight taught me. It's like, man, I'm like, listen, man, it gone are the times where we can take away from a fighter's victory because another fighter wasn't up to par that night. Gone are those times, because it's always, even when the fighter don't make excuses, the fans do. Even when a fighter don't make no excuses, the fan would do it for them. I'm like, nah, man, we can't do that, man. Like how Subriel Matias, that dude took his loss. He refused. They asked him about 9 billion times. He refused. But at the time when they was running, they was not getting, like, I think, man, Spence, he was getting the credit or whatever, but like, there were so many things going on and so many things that people tend to perpetuate around that. So as a fan, you find yourself in a position where you might have to say some things that are facts about another fighter, which would make you look like you're hating. It's awkward. So people set out these traps where they say that they want you to go in and they want you to talk about this, and that's what it's going to be. But it's a trap. It's a trap. Because if they can get you to try to defend or get you caught up in one of these, you start following them and you get off in this rabbit hole and you follow them into some shit that you can't even defend, you're done. You cook. You know, the times where people was like, man, I want all the smoke, it's strap season, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, that is fading. Now is, well, the bag right, then shoot, maybe we can talk. I might get back to you. I got this going on. What you got going on? You ain't got nothing going on. Okay, well, when you get something else going on, hit me back. Like, what? Where they do that at? It's just like right now, fans are being conditioned every day. Like, people who watch boxing are being conditioned by the people who produce things every day. Like, it happens, it's been happening more and more recently. And I'm just like, listen, man, I would love a standard to where we can't say, oh, this one's special, so we expect him to do, no, man, come on, man. Fighters get the gold, man. It's a bunch of fighters that's sitting around right now, and all they fans say that they are waiting. They're waiting for who? But certain fighters are expected to do whatever. Like, who are they waiting for? Oh, so they ain't really got nothing. So they're gonna wait. That don't even sound right, man. It happens. The definitions of step aside, the definition, because listen, man, like when it comes to, and I hate to do this, man, but when it comes to the great Bud Crawford, man, that's why I do not like doing videos and talking about him, man. I want to give the man credit. I want to put him in a good light. I want to do all of those things, but it is the fans, man. Like, those fans, man. And it don't even be coming from the man himself, because I interpret it different. When I hear straight from Bud, I don't hear none of this blood clot shit that these fans be saying, man. I just deduct my own reason, and then I look at what happens when they go to the table, when stuff is done and over, whatever. I try to eat the fish and spit out the bones. I really don't care about all the crazy, stupid shit. I really don't. But the fans will suck you into that. To where you got to point out facts to where it look like if you point out that fact now, oh man, look, you'll say anything to defend your fight or what? So I can say a fact. That's a fact. And it's all these goofy ass the facts over feelings, but when you hit somebody with a fact, then they catch feelings. It's like, I don't get it. I don't. I'm like, man, look, there's a whole bunch of boxing going on, man. There's history going on. There's a lot of things going on, man. Other than like, you know, other than the sensational shit, just saying somebody's name. Like man, there's so many people. There's so many people at 130 that saying a fighter's name at 135. And it's okay, because that be the title of the interview. This fighter got a fight tomorrow night, and he's talking about the guy that's, how should you put it, since we getting told this every day, the guy that's just absolutely not the face of boxing. Like every day, I'm like, you got to fight tomorrow, and you talking about this man. Normally, what will happen is you don't talk about the dude. You go in there and put on a stellar performance. When they say, who do you want next? Then that's your time to shine, B. That's your time to shine. It's like, for me, man, like when you be thinking about like ammunition and shit, like that's a waste of ammunition, man. Like if you doing it beforehand, that's just a waste of ammunition, man. You might as well just like that, all that people putting their guns up in the air and just shooting off, blah, blah, blah. Like that's a waste of ammunition, man. Plus you create shit you gotta do after that. Like, come on, man. But that's the standard now. Like, you can't be the man, and then people are actively not trying to fight you or saying no, and then they want to talk about everything. Like, I'm like, well, I haven't even really wrapped my mind around what people are arguing and debating about. Because the fight got moved or canceled, and then it's, oh, well, he was chasing them 2 years ago. I'm like, what is everybody talking about? But that's the hottest shit in the streets. That's the hottest thing going in the streets, man. That's why I said, man, it don't be about boxing, man. And it don't be about nobody speaking no facts. Because when you do it, people say facts over feelings. And when you stay facts, they catch feelings. So I knew, man, it was good to see that, man. Maybe, you know, they are, because you still see that there are some people, like, it's hard to believe that Keith Thurman lost one time. And yeah, I sided with Earl at a point in time when it came to Keith. Keith got to being inactive and all that, but the man lost one time. When his name come up, they act like he ain't did shit. Earl went and got 3 of them. When his name come up, they act like he ain't did shit. Jamel Charlo went and got undisputed. They act like he ain't did shit. They act like he ain't did shit to the point to where they will point out this and they will replay this shit over and over again. When Bo Mack told Derrick James that he didn't know shit about undisputed. Do you already know that Jamel Charlo was already undisputed and Derrick James did it? That's almost like them people that be saying, Christopher Columbus discovered America, when we know that's not his name, and we know that's not true, and we know that black people were already here. It don't stop them from teaching that to the youth. That shit just be sounding good. But who gonna jump out and say, oh man, hold on, man, that man did? Because then you look like you defending. No, you're stating the fact, and people get in their feelings. When Subriel Matias was making his run and he was the boogeyman, he got up there, he called Devin something, he called T.O. something, he called Rolly. You can say what you want. They were both saying they already know. They still kind of refer to him when they need to, when it'll benefit them. Him and Gary Russell, they still refer to him as the boogeyman when they want to. I was acknowledging both as such the whole time, promoting them both. Gary Antoine, he was just a little less active at one point. He just hit a spot because, you know, his pops was, you know, that was a big, things happen. But Subriel was the one that had the title, and he sent one up for one. All these people had an option to be able to fight him, and they didn't. They made other plans. When I was running around talking about Anyway, when I was saying, man, if it ain't Tank, Anyway, or Subriel, it was that triangle. I said, if it ain't Tank, Anyway, or Subriel, that, you know, what's it about? That was, at one point in time, that's what it was about. But I said, you know what? As much as I like Anyway, as much as my old head like Anyway, he loved Anyway, I like Anyway. I said, man, for me, in the lane that I'm in, it benefits me nothing to do it. It was a lane, it benefits me nothing to do it. Why? Because you just invite people to troll. Or you do like these other cats who sell out and get on the bandwagon because they know that appeals to everybody and they just run that play. I'm not going to do it. I've already proven that I can do it when I do it. That's why when I feel like my channel, I feel like when I start getting too much on one person in one area and I start doing it and it get too hot, I got to go on because I don't want to be affiliated with being just a channel of one fighter. I like them all, some of them more than others. But it's very rare that you see I don't really see any balanced conversations. I have yet to see any balanced conversations when it come down to these breakdowns, when it come down to who's ducking and who's not. Like, you don't see it. You just get a bunch of people arguing about some shit that they don't even know the full facts of. Going back and forth. And you get nothing. It don't get you to fight. People start getting personal. Start threatening to sue people. Start threatening to expose people. But let you call out some shit that they said or did wrong in a video. Now you a hater, and that's the only way you want to come up. Like, no, they're like, what you mean? You make a living doing it. But when somebody actually put you in them crosshairs, and they say you got about a 20% error rate, and let's talk about this 20% error rate you got now is, oh my gosh, who are you? That's where we at, man. So I was telling my old head, hey, boxing has changed. Because boxers have changed, the way they get paid have changed, therefore fans have changed. And we're in the internet age. So whatever's being put out there, whatever can be echoed the most by the most people, rechirp, retweet, who can ever put their sauce or they spin on it and they co-sign on it, that's what's rocking. The thing about boxing is they're going to have to get in the ring at some point in time. So until they do that, all that extra shit, because people don't really see the error, like people don't really see the crazy shit that they do, but they'll create some shit and then be acting like they trying to kill it, but they don't really want to kill it. They just created it. Not thinking that it was going, you know what I'm saying, be what it was. Every Frankenstein had to get put down, man. They had to. Like it was a necessary evil. So if people are paying attention to the sport and where it's going and how novelty boxing is on the rise, I told you now, if a cable guy comes to your house and they recognize that, hey, you into boxing, and you mention it, and the first thing they talk about is Mike Tyson and the Paul guy, that tells you everything. Like, you got people that's not wanting to see people, and I understand the whole like language barrier stuff. That's why I was saying, I used to tell Ugas all the time, man, it'll do you wonders, Ugas, if you just learned, if you just spoke a little bit more. Now you see these guys come out and do it. You seen what it did for Canelo. But you got people who they'll make up. You can say whatever when, like, they were saying whatever about Subriel because a lot of people over here wasn't really supporting him like that. They were saying whatever and doing whatever, and then he started doing a little bit. They played a little game with him over there with Eddie, and now, boom, he one loss after going over there with his strap, one loss, he's no longer over there. And people act like everything that he did, because it's 1,000 people out here acting like he didn't do nothing. Now, whenever he come up, the hype job and all this, I'm like, man, like your fighter wasn't trying to get in there with him. We can play this game all we want. We can play this game all we want. The Anyway thing, it like over here, it don't make no sense to give him no praise and glory because they'll shoot it down. Like when I was saying that he was going to stop Fulton, that created a lot of haters for me. What happened? He stopped Fulton. That didn't mean people didn't stop hating on me for it. We supposed to be sticking together. Yeah, we are supposed to be sticking together. But if your side over there, the people that's in the camp and all around talking about this dude is a hype job, I said, hold on, listen, man. You go around saying that this man over there is a hype job. What's going to happen when he knock you out thinking like that? And what happened? Ain't nobody come back and be like, oh man, Mike, you know, nobody did that. They just kept that whole whatever, and that was just another one. But when you talk about anyway, then you talk about David Benavidez, then you talk about Tank, and then you talk about the Charlos, then you talk about Spence, and then you talk about everybody going to find a spot that when you hit them in a no spot with some truth. Everybody going to do that. Gabrielle Fundor getting ready to make Undisputed. If she can win that fight at flyweight. I didn't see not one video for all these legacy people and all this, yeah, let's grow women, but I ain't seen not one video. You see what I'm saying? So the people that's really doing something sometimes, when you stay on that, ain't nobody on that. They about the drama. They about, oh, he said and she said and they said and what said and who said and how. What? What are y'all arguing about? It's real boxing going on. People be making up stuff. People just be making up stuff, man. Running with stuff, man. I'm like, man, where are the good stuff, man? Let's get to the good stuff. I say, listen, man. I started saying, listen, man, these fighters and what they say to each other, yeah, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to critique it. But I'm like, listen, man, that's between them. If Floyd think he can go in there and knock out Tank, hey, all power to you, brother. All I know is you got a fight coming up this week, and there's been a lot of blabbing off at the mouth. And people are wondering, is you going to knock this guy out? Right? That's one thing. Raymond Danger, he done went to cornrows. Raymond Danger went to cornrows. That's a serious brother too, man. Raymond Danger, Muratalla, that's a serious brother, man. And if y'all think that lesson with Tevin, being in there with Tevin Farmer didn't teach him nothing, that young man might have needed that little lesson, man. I think he showed a little bit of resilience, but I had Tevin, man. Tevin was doing this thing. It was a lull in the action. And I think towards the end, Muratalla did enough. But it was not a blowout and all that. Clearly, Muratalla landed the big like boom, but it was flashes of brilliance from Tevin Farmer, especially coming back with the inactivity and all that. Like, you know, that fight was a nice little fight, man. That was a nice little scrap. If you think that man didn't learn anything from going in there with that defensive technician, with that veteran savvy, that might have been, that's the timing. I noticed that everything in boxing is about timing. So he might have that might have been good timing for him to get Tevin Farmer right then and there. But I know that his name was in the rumblings over there. I don't have no insiders over there, but I know his name was in the rumblings over there. And one of them guys to get one of them belts was going to have to go through that. We're not going to get into when I did this on 9/24. Right? In this order. On 9/24, I put this out. Somebody else doubled back today and did this, like did a little short joint on it, ran it down, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was breaking news. You know what I'm saying? It was breaking news. I'm like, okay, man, that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? We've been watching. We know what's going on. But you got to know that it was okay. That was from this guy's perspective, not Raymond's. Raymond got his name. He got a Tevin Farmer. That's a name. That's a name. He caught him at the right time, but that's a name. He getting ready to go in there with Zepeda. So we gonna see what Zepeda do. Whole different story. But this guy's gonna show up. Everything I've seen with this guy is that they basically ordered special delivery for this guy, man. He got him by about 2 inches, man. I know he got at least 7-inch arm reach. You can already see before being rehydrated. And they already say he a big boy, but you can tell. He didn't look emaciated or nothing. That dude's gonna be big as shit come tomorrow night. And it's gonna be danger, man. If I had to put my money on it, the most explosive knockout we're gonna see is probably gonna be what Muratalla do to this guy. That's just what I think. If I look at everything, that's just what I think. They saying the guy that Schofield is about going to fight, he ain't never been knocked out. So we'll see. I just know that, man. I know that Floyd and his dad, they've been in social media a lot. They've been getting a lot of disrespect for I don't know, man. I just don't believe in calling a man a woman name, man, unless you would say that in somebody's face, man. I just don't believe in calling a man a woman name, man. Especially like a man that's a man, like not a, a man that's a man. I don't believe that you should call a man that's a man a lady's name, man. But so I don't get it. I don't get it, but they get a lot of that. But, some people online, the way it is, well, you shouldn't talk so much and you shouldn't. I'm like, okay, well, when the Haneys was doing it, was promotion. Now, when these guys are doing it, they talk too much. I don't really get it. It's different strokes for different folks. I just know that they have been writing a lot of checks that Floyd Schofield is going to have to cash. I just know that all these guys that's saying Tank name before their fight, I just hope that it work out for them. Because it's like everybody going into this fight, everybody's being asked about Tank. And I'm like, that's a lost opportunity for you. The people that represent you, because you can say it, but a lot of times, y'all remember when Speedy Rashidi, Ellis, and Boots got into it before he fought Villa? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember what happened? That fight could have potentially been next. But it was like the cart was being put before the horse, and there was a little bit too much energy going on into that situation, and it didn't pan out. Even though on the scorecards, I had Rashidi winning, for real, by the skin of it. But I can see why in today's day and time, that at the knockdowns at the end and all that kind of evened up, and it was the final chapter. Like, if that thing had more rounds, man, like we could deduct what would happen. We could reason that somebody wasn't gonna get their second win, and it was gonna be lights out. We can reason that. But I think he had did enough. He was up so far that even with them knockdowns, he won like on points in my system. But I see how they could have gave it the other way because of how people judge and what they prefer. But they were putting the cart before the horse. A lot of these guys before their fights are bringing up the other guy. And this is not protection. This is just something where I'm like, okay, you know what I'm saying? How has that been panning out? Like, how did that pan out for Tim Tszyu? Who was he talking about? Going into the Muratalla fight. You see what I'm saying? So we don't know. But you asking these guys, listen, when I heard Raymond Muratalla said, no, listen, I don't care. Like, who, what name? I don't care. He's like, whoever's going to have the belt. Like, I'm out for the belt. Like, who, what name? He was not name specific. He want the title. I believe he's moving like it. They ordered him some special delivery. When it come down to Jahi, we're gonna have to look at Jahi. We're gonna have to look at his age, his height, his reach. We're gonna have to look at all that when I go into those stats. But when I saw Jahi, man, it was kind of hard to judge. Like, I don't know, man. I thought, I don't know, man. He looked, I don't know where what's going on with weight and all that, but he looked like he was in shape. But I didn't see that cut up like that. I didn't see that, you know what I'm saying? And I think that he's at a point in time where his image, his look, and his performance has to like straight be like, it has to start borderlining like spectacular, because he's up against it with a lot of these other guys that no matter how, like if they box, they gonna give all the excuses for why their opponent, and I'm talking about these other guys in and of these other cultures, these other fighters in and around the weight class, they're gonna get credit for shit that they didn't do that wasn't spectacular. It's like I believe Jahi need to start separating himself from the pack right now. You know how everybody have their little forte or their little signature, like your little signature image. You know what I'm saying? Like my man from the zone, he from DC too, with the locks, the announcer. He went through something a couple years ago on that bike accident, and he been doing good, man. But he got his signature. Like when you see him, he got a signature look. You know what I'm saying? Like most people are coming into, see, Raymond, he went into the whole cornrows because he had this fade. He went into the cornrows, but he did something with his image. He had a signature look. Oshaquie got a signature look. You know what I'm saying? Like some kind of something to start, like when they see you, oh, okay, wherever they see you, how it's like a signature look. So those things, like your physical shape and then your performance inside the ring, it has to start separating itself. Because there's a lot of guys in and around that weight class that's going to get the benefit of the doubt. And it's a lot of them guys that's actually going in there and putting people lights out. You know what I'm saying? So we'll look at that. And Oshaquie, before I went into Oshaquie, I wanted to play this this thing from when right from when the loss happened, and then we'll go into the Oshaquie, since that's the biggest part of this whole piece, because of the robbery. I don't care what nobody say, man. That was a robbery, man. So let me get this up. Let me get this up. My bad, you guys. Let's see. I gotta get this thing rocking and rolling. I appreciate everybody that's in here. Let me see. Cookie Monster, Bodywork, sounded crystal clear. His twin, Roll Rage. Salute, Cookie Monster. His twin, Roll Rage. I appreciate y'all. I definitely do. Thank you. Salute. Yeah. All right. So let me do this. So we know if I'm, let's see if I still feel the same way. It's a little shorty. And we're going to break this thing down. Just a little shorty. Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. Man, top rank treachery. First, I want to apologize to Oshaquie Foster. We've all been through some things where we really outperformed our competition and we really won, but for whatever reason, we get robbed of a time when we actually demonstrated a certain level of greatness. And so at first I want to apologize, but I also want to transition into let this be a cautionary tale for everybody who believes that they can go in and just do, not saying that Oshaquie did this, but long story short, we need to stop leaving the fight into the judges' hands. You know, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. I try not to listen to too many takes or be involved in too many discussions about this before I render my own conclusion based on my homework. And when I look at the numbers in this fight, let's start with the numbers real quick. And when I actually look at these numbers, I'm saying, how in the world did Oshaquie Foster lose the fight when you look at total punches? He threw 435, landed 109. Conceição 701 and landed 76. So in actual punches, Oshaquie Foster outlanded him by at least 30, because we know there might be some inaccuracies with the clicks and all that. But when I'm looking at it, Conceição outlanded him with body shots, 27-20. But it was actually 109-76, so he outlanded him by 36 punches. Conceição only landed 10% of his punches. So when he had the high activity rate at 701, which is about 58, average about 58 punches per round, he was only landing at 10%. And meanwhile, Oshaquie Foster was throwing about 435, which is about 30, high 30s, like 38 punches around, and he was landing at 25%. That means 1 out of 4. So Conceição was landing at 1 out of 10, and Oshaquie was landing at 1 out of 4. And we'll get to the scoring criteria here in a second. Total jabs. Conceição 388, landed 27. Oshaquie Foster outlanded him 51-27 in jabs. And again, Conceição was doing more work to the body. But in jabs, Conceição was less than 7%, and Oshaquie Foster was almost at 20% at 19%. And then in power punches, Conceição threw 313 and landed 49 at 15.7%. And in power punches, he did not win in that game because Oshaquie outlanded him 14-12. Oshaquie threw 172 power punches and landed 58, which is at 33%, who was closer to, you know, the number of 40%, which leads to a dominant performance when you're talking about power punches and what power punches really do entail. So I say in actual landed punches outside of the body work, which I'm not gonna, y'all don't discount body work. You know this is bodywork boxing, aka the pulsive boxing. But when I look at this, I'm like, okay, so when actual punches, Oshaquie outlanded him, and then when you're talking about accuracy, he was more accurate. And so I said, okay, well, there's some people that's going to actually bring up the 4 criteria for judging a boxing match. So let's look at it. And so when you look at the 4 criteria for actually scoring a boxing match, effective aggression, the fighter who consistently lands punches while avoiding their opponents. So you're landing and he not, that famous plus minus. Defense, how well the boxer blocks, slips, and parries punches. Ring generalship, The fighter who controls the action and imposes their will and style. Clean punches, hard shots that land flush rather than being blocked or missing. So by that definition, Oshaquie Foster really won the fight because he fought his style. When he didn't want to be touched, he couldn't be touched, but he could touch his opponent. Accuracy. Defense. When you talk about defense, if you threw over 700 and something punches and you only landed 10%, that speaks to who had the better defense, especially when you threw almost half the amount of punches as your opponent, but you were way more effective, 2.5 times more effective in actually landing yours. So I want to say, my hat goes off to Oshaquie, man. I seen, the eyes welling up, and it's nothing for you to hold your head down, man. I just hate to see that this actually happened. And I was just as vocal when I seen Valdez, Robson, and when that whole ordeal happened on Top Rank, and I was embarrassed for Robson, did a video, was just as vocal as now. But just because they did it then and they want to redeem it for Conceição does not mean that Oshaquie Foster deserved to be robbed like that. And to be honest, I was very impressed with Kelvin Davis. I was highly impressed with the Abdullah Mason, aka the tarantula in my boxes to watch. I was entertained by Keyshawn. And when it came down to watching this fight with Oshaquie Foster, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of ruined my appetite. Then I said, okay, well, if Shakur Stevenson fights this same fight with this same defensive-oriented, hit and not get hit style, Teflon Don, which is what I call this style at Oshaquie, because he could not hit him. It was nothing but shoulders. He mastered that shoulder roll. It was just going off shoulders, top of the head, and gloves. That was it. It's grazing off the top of the head if it landed. So it was an immaculate defensive performance. And listening to Oshaquie, he said, I just felt like, hey, I wanted to show that if I don't want to be touched, I can't be touched. Which I don't blame him for executing it. He did it masterfully. Conceição looked like he was out there just fencing, poking holes in the fence, just seeing what stick, and just couldn't land. No adjustment. And we all know that if you're average, he can get you out of there. If you're above average and you're in that elite, you're going to be able to leap past him. And I think that this was a travesty. I think that this was treacherous. And I want to say, Oshaquie, man, keep your head up. Keep your eye on the prize. Come right back and be very vocal. Be very vocal about it. Don't take this line down. And, everything's going to work itself out. But kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. And when we actually see the fight with Shakur Stevenson and Wally Moses, it was concerning to Wally. And he kept saying, get this guy out of there. So the moral of the story is, don't knock fans who prefer knockout artists as opposed to the boxer. Why? Because you can box a clean, pristine boxing match and still get robbed by the judges when you put it in their hands. That's why some of us prefer that when you can master your opponent, you can make an adjustment, show that you're levels above, and you can end the contest. It works in your favor. And I think that's what also is creating more of a frenzy for people to go to things outside of boxing because of the action. When you get the knockouts and you're that accurate and you can will yourself to make an adjustment and master your opponent to end the contest, fans are going to want to see you much more. Not that fans don't want to see Oshaquie. I think people are impressed with Oshaquie. He did show a whole nother level of defense. Impenetrable. Maybe it was just Conceição. But to see the man get robbed like that, it kind of spoiled the Shakur fight, or at least the way I was looking at it. I kind of felt the same way Wally was feeling, when he was in the corner with Shakur, like, don't play with this guy. Anyways, I would love to know your comments. I would love to know what you think. Hit my comment section. Let me know, man. Because I seen some titles, man, where somebody was saying that it wasn't a robbery. And I said, you know what? If they believe that, I don't need to watch it. And then I also thought, well, if they do believe that, or they don't believe that, and I actually watch it and they're actually saying something opposite, then that's clickbait. And we know how acceptable that is. I would love to get your thoughts. Love to get your comments. Because I believe it was a robbery. Anyways, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work. Salute body work. Salute Brooklyn hit. Cookie Monster body work. I was listening to a little bit of how people are using certain things of yours, and that's what they do nowadays. The days of authentication is over with. To say that again. But then I'm biased because I'm a bodywork fan, not a boxing craze fan, but I enjoy watching certain fights. Just keep doing what you're doing. Your intelligence and graphic work is out of this world. Man, you might have been enough. You might have put 2 more weeks on me, man. You might have put 2 more weeks. No, I'm just playing. I definitely appreciate that, Cookie Monster. I definitely appreciate that. But to answer the question, I still believe that. You know, we're in the era now where fans, right, whoever wins, it's just like people who said, like when Bodywork didn't get the decision against Virgil, even though he dropped Virgil twice. And yeah, he got touched, yeah, he got buzzed, you know. When that verdict was rendered, you still have people like, just because it was rendered that Virgil won, they're gonna say that was the right decision. So this, I be looking at people, I can't even acknowledge, really can't acknowledge people who seen that Oshaquie, Foster, and Robson Conceição fight and didn't think that Oshaquie won that handedly. You know, and nowadays we are also in the era where they say, oh, the researcher is this, the researcher like what y'all, so like the researcher has a negative connotation now. You gotta think about that, man. You gotta think about that. Like, being a researcher, looking up facts, has now taken on a negative connotation, right? Just to confirm. I wonder what a lot of people are doing out here. So when I saw the Robson Conceição and Oscar Valdez fight, that was a robbery, and I said something about it. In a time when it was not popular to say something about it. Why? Because it was a lot of people, Oscar Valdez fans and everybody who wanted, you know what I'm saying, just because they were going to support. They wasn't going to say nothing, but, you know, it wasn't popular. I still said it was a robbery. When Michael Fox fought Gabriel Maestre, that was a robbery. Gabriel Maestre came back and did, you know, he got one of our DMV guys, Trayvon the Sniper Marshall, who has since come back, but probably caught him a little cold. Or at least that's what I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? He caught old Trey, caught him cold, man, caught him up against the ropes and put him out of there. So he redeemed himself. But when it came to Michael Fox put them hands on Gabriel. So I looked at Oshaquie. He seemed like he has he has like shed the emotions of that. He looks like he is moving forward. He has tunnel vision on his fight. I did see where people were catching him up, and I guess that happens during press week where people just gonna ask you all these crazy things, and I guess that's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and as a boxer, it's your job to try to stay focused. Just remember, my message to Oshaquie is to remember that Oshaquie, he's not gonna get the same benefit that Conceição got as having been the champ, because people will use this example too. You know how they say, oh, he didn't do enough to beat the champ? Well, they'll use that depending on who had the belt in the first place. Because technically, Boychuk had that belt when Virgil did it, and so you wouldn't say that if you dropped him, he didn't do enough to retain that. If I drop you twice, you run up in my crib and I'm bop, bop, you know, I hit you twice. I mean, I would say I got the best of that. You know what I'm saying? But it's different because he had the belt. So my message to Oshaquie is, because they're going to treat Conceição as if he's the champ, and unless you do enough to rip this belt up out of his hands, you're not going to get that decision. And I heard him say, man, I know not to not to leave it into the judge's hands. I heard him when he said that. But I hope he really I hope he stands on that. And you know, I was saying the best fight I saw him was when he went over there to Riyadh. That was the best Oshaquie fought. I said, man, this guy, he can be a real problem. When he went over there, when he won the belt and he came back the way he did, I say, man, that late start stuff, sometimes, man, it's gonna be a person that got some stamina. You know what I'm saying? We are in the era where you don't know what's going on with some of these fighters. If they, you know, they might be able to retain that thing, almost like Villa in that Rashidi fight. The Rashidi was boxing and moving, he moved so much. Villa was just like that dude from No Country of Old Men and just walked him down and bop, bop. He came back recently and got done bad after the boots thing, you know. But Oshaquie, man, it's gonna be his night to shine. There are a couple, Jan Santana is another name that's out there. I told you, Gabriel Fundora. That's why I say if people are all about legacy and this and that and the greatest, because when it comes to women's, they'll pick and choose when they want to acknowledge whether something was rational or not, what champion, what A-side champion should have to do what or not. But Gabrielle Fondola, she getting ready at 22 years old. If she win this fight, she's gonna be 22 years old, undisputed, at flyweight. And people say, oh, that's those little weights. It's like, yeah, but you gotta respect all of them that put on the gloves and actually do it. That would be talked about because that is legacy for all my, it's legacy over everything. It's not about the bag. It's like, okay, well, the legacy would be to go up there and try to knock Tank out, try to get Tank off his square. That would be the legacy. Ain't nobody trying to really go do that. That man Ben said, hey man, I'm about that bag. I got people I'm trying to feed. I'm trying to do this. I'm about that bag. And then became about that. I mean, he was at that point in time, he was about that bag. He was already that bag, but then since then it's kind of gotten to where it's like it's been proven that he can, you know what I'm saying, he can make some bread. He been packing out arenas. But the legacy would be to try to go clip that dude. The legacy would be trying to go take it. Not just saying it, but doing things that like moving and shaking like that's what you want to do. Not just saying it. Not just saying it. So if I had to put some bread down on who gonna steal the show, ironically, because of the matchup, I would say Raymond. They want Raymond to look very well. Why? Because next week, where is that? Next week, So really, I don't know if y'all are paying attention. If we talking about Top Rank, we talking about at 35. I don't know if anybody been paying attention, but you know, you got to read between the lines, man. And it's, you know, you seen what this was. So he got that. He's doing this right here. He's, you know, building that rivalry and brothers. That's great to do. That's the good jaw jacking I be saying. That's that good, you know what I'm saying? Talk that, build that up, beef that up. That's great. That's man, that can go, I don't know how many ways that can go. That can go a lot of ways. And then we knew that this was the play. People just figured that out today and reported on it. But we knew that. We already knew that. We knew that Keyshawn, just by deductive reasoning and paying attention, we know that Keyshawn is striving to actually take over Top Rank. It's just that they are putting this guy in the mix, and I think that they gave this guy they gave this guy Raymond Danger a guy that they know he gonna probably spark. You know, with Keyshawn and his Limos, man, that's why I said I had to salute him. You know what I'm saying? I did want to acknowledge, you know what I'm saying, something that was a fact about the fight, but I did want to salute him because that guy can box and he's a tweener. I don't think it matters. Whether he fights at 40 or 35 because of his style. He's like Isaac Pitbull Cruz with bells and whistles. You know what I'm saying? He's not as limited. He has bells and whistles. You know, and I think more skilled boxers, like the more poetic skill, you know what I'm saying? Like more classical style boxers will probably give him a hard time. More of a hard time. But somebody that's gonna try to brawl with him and stand in front of him and all that, oh man, that's dangerous. That's right up his alley because he got low center of gravity. He can get kind of low. That's kind of dangerous. That's kind of dangerous. And I don't think he want to let nothing go to the scorecards because the Richardson Hitchens, even though Richardson Hitchens never got dropped, nothing like that. He got buzzed. He clinched. He did whatever. He did the same thing Paro did when he won his title off Sabril Matias. He did the same thing. So that's not an easy fight. It's not an easy fight for Keyshawn. But if he make it look easy, or if he sparked this dude in his own hometown with all that pressure and all the things he's been saying and all the names and all of the rah-rah stuff, if he's able to do that, yeah, he'd be one step closer to actually taking over Top Rank on his way to Baranchek. So it's a lot of pressure on Muratalla. It's pressure on Oshaquie because they're gonna treat him like a true challenger, like Conceição been the champ, and you got to take it from him, and you got to do enough, and so that in itself could actually play against Oshaquie. Like if he's not his patient normal self, he over rushes, he's overcommitted, he going in like a bull in a china shop. It's not gonna be good because Conceição is better than that. Conceição to get cute and start boxing and sticking and moving. And if they're gonna if they let this man, think about this. If they let that man, I showed y'all the stat, if they let that man win when he threw 700 and something punches, only landed like 76 punches, he landed 10% of his punches. If they let them take a belt from you, well, you threw almost half what he threw and doubled him 2.5 times in your accuracy. If they took a strap from you and let him get away with 10%, you know what they're expecting you to do. You know what they're expecting you to do. They're not going to come out and tell you that, but we seen what happened when you let stuff go to the scorecards. So don't be out here knockout shaming people. You know what I'm saying? Like for fans who like to knock out. Why? Because man, it's almost like your dude gotta knock him out because dropping him twice, that ain't gonna get it done. Think about it. Dropping somebody twice and not getting dropped, like that ain't gonna get it. That's not even gonna get it done. You know what I'm saying? This is the times that we're living in. But it's good boxing going on right now. It's a lot of pressure on Schofield. We talked about this with I talked about this when Diego Pacheco had the baby. We talked about it when Jared Anderson had the baby. You know what I'm saying? I was saying that when the woman pregnant, the man pregnant, and having a baby, and then how you going to fight after that? Because now life is different. You created somebody now you going in there, you know what I'm saying? Like you going in there like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of pressure, and we got to see how boxers act, because it is a factor in boxing. He just had a little one, you know what I'm saying? Like in his style, Oscar always point to something that I say about him, what I do know. It's not the polished classical style. He wing a lot of stuff or whatever, but he is a workaholic. You know what I'm saying? So the people that's lapsed and the people that's not doing the time and putting in the time and doing the work and all that, even if they had better skills, with his power and his work ethic, if he developed some of them veteran things, he already faced adversity by being cut and all that, which that's bad, because people gonna try to look to open that up from here on out. You know what I'm saying? And he is there to fight. He said, if I get knocked out, okay, well, oh well. If you're not, but I'm not there to get knocked out. He said, but that's what he's trying to do. And he fights like that. He got some pressure on him this weekend. I just thought that if we're gonna have boxing conversations, man, be open to the facts. If it's really facts over feelings, then when people start spitting facts, don't catch feelings. I don't think that's what they mean by that. I want to see Jahi break out, man. I want to see Jahi break out. There are a lot of names out here that Jahi is going to be linked to, and they tend to kind of like space things out or get erratic or give you a short notice or do something kind of weird when you might be a tough out or somebody that might not make their guy, the guy that's their commercial guy, might not make him look good. So you got to stay on your P's and Q's, and every opportunity you get, you got to show up and show out. You got to separate yourself. You got to get your forte to where every time somebody see you, they be like, oh, that's Jahi. No matter what that signature is, I would say develop that. Oshaquie got one. You can tell that's Oshaquie when you first, soon as you see him, that's him. You know what I'm saying? He got a style. So I think that's there in the performance. I think Jahi has excellent hand-eye coordination. He was a smaller guy that sprouted up, and so he still has some of that limberness, that twitchiness and all that. He done settled down, got more of it's becoming more of a professional style. But he got some nasty moves, man. Once he start putting it together and really put one of these people on a highlight reel. I heard he got shortchanged a little bit. Guy came in overweight and was bigger than normal, probably was way bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? That's just where he decided to stop cutting weight at. But it's time to show up and show out, because they are giving you opportunities. So it's pressure there, because Top Rank will manufacture pressure. You be coasting along, and one day they'll be like, hey, man, it's going to be on this night. Because Tim Bradley done told us. I pay attention to Tim Bradley. He done told us. He done said, listen, man, tonight, somebody gonna go home. I'm not saying that that's what's happened, but we've heard that before. So I'm saying, as you keep getting these opportunities, know that Top Rank will do it. They did it to Elvis, and Elvis went over there. He had to go over there to PBC, was inactive, then he went back, and you know what I'm saying? I think he's back there now. But they will do that. So every opportunity you get, you got to show up and show out. Oshaquie, he has to show up and show out. Floyd, because of all the pressure and where he stands in the rankings and who he's behind, because he's right behind Tank. Aside from Zepeda in all four lines, he right there. So it's pressure on him with all these talks and all these interviews and all these things that's been said, even though he's a humble guy. I think that team, they're getting a little backlash because of another team that came before him. A lot of people view them as they're doing the same thing. I think it's a little different, but I mean, this is what boxing is. This is what boxing talk is, man. So he has to perform inside the ring. Because on the Battle of YouTube right now, the Normans and the Schofields, they catch the most flack whenever they brought up, because of the interviews and how boxing is and how people like to mold all of that. I don't get caught up into that. I try to pay attention to know who's lying and who's not and what's going on. I keep it binary over here. Balls going in holes, soccer balls going in goals. You know what I'm saying? What happened? Not all the jaw jacking. Did we get the fight? Oh, we didn't. Oh, okay. So all that bullshit y'all fell out over. All right then. You know what I'm saying? All that shit y'all been arguing about for a week. All right then, man. Holler at me when they fight then. That's why I called it pressure. That's why I called it pressure. Because it's some pressure. If you haven't, please hit the like button. You know, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you're catching this on the playback, talk to me. I talk back. This is Fruits and Veggies, not that Reggie, the alternative to opinion-based. This is fact-based content. You know what I'm saying? And I would ask that I did a little survey about who was still the show this weekend. So if you haven't seen that little survey on the community page, vote on the community page and let me know who you think is going to steal the weekend. Salute, Smoke, AC. Let's see. What's good, AC?
Was good, bro. Was good. Good cook right there. I'm looking at
Salute.
what Oshaquie is up against.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me could see him losing this fight 2 times in a row. It's a real possibility. I'm not going to shy away from that because the threshold he has to cross is much, much higher than the threshold he had to cross when he originally got the belt and now that he's trying to get it back from Conceição. For whatever reason that is.
I got one. I'll go ahead. When you're done, I'll tell you one.
But basically, it's like I'm nervous for him for this one. You know what I'm saying?
Me too, man.
That's about where I want to sum it up. I could see him easily winning the fight, and then the weird decision just comes down again, or some other weird shit may happen where the fight is called off somewhere weird and Conceição still gets to walk away with the belt over some abstract something. But it's just odd. It's just for me an odd energy around that fight particular, knowing what we know the dynamics going into the fight. My thing is he has to put hands on Conceição early and often and consistently.
Yes.
You don't have to get the TKO stoppage. I think if he fights in that manner and it still goes to the cards, you know, long as he has, I would say, an above 30% ratio in every punch category, he wins that fight.
He might need some drops.
Yeah.
I think he will need some drops. And this is why I say that this is the one thing I know. The one thing I know is because, see, with Conceição having the background that he has, the Olympic statics that he got, with him having that country, Brazil, behind him, and him being able to be matched, he could be matched against Puerto Rican, he could be matched against, because he's got to the level where he does have a fan base.
Yeah.
And they can play on that, and then having a history of shared the ring with who, like having fought Valdez and all that, until he's shot, they can always reinsert him or use him. So I think he's up against it more than one, because like I'm telling you, it's almost like an unspoken thing now, to where Just because you can avoid me and touch me when you can avoid me and touch me and I don't touch you as much, they're not counting that no more. They're looking at it like you ain't trying to force the fight. And this is how the criteria is going, because out of those criteria that I had up there, like out of those definitions, I'm like, I don't know how you could say this man didn't win. But obviously it's something that they're seeing in like how aggressive somebody is. You know what I'm saying? Like how they'll use those things, and if it get to the final bell, man, they can say whatever decision they want. What you gonna do?
Yeah.
It ain't no like, oh no, I'm putting in a review for this, man. Nah, man, you ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? It's it. That's it.
For Oshaquie, close rounds ain't your friend.
Close rounds go to him.
Yeah, close rounds gonna go to Conceição, because that's kind of what happened before, when I would say to a trained boxing fan, we're looking at dominance. To some of these judges, I don't know their background. I don't know if they're boxing fans. I don't know. I don't know if they came from UFC. I don't know if they came from ice skating. To them, they could be, oh, he keeps punching, but the other guy just keeps walking forward. He's not doing nothing to this guy.
Yep.
So I'm gonna give the round to that guy.
I've seen people see people hit somebody, like, oh, that didn't do shit. I'm like, damn, so
yeah.
You can't give us an opinion on that. Like, we don't know, like, shit, like that ain't do nothing. Like, yeah, man, he's hit him. Yeah, he caught him pretty good. That was nothing. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's like back in the days, you could at least, hear who were the judges, and then you knew these judges had long histories in what they were doing, because it would be an atrocity for a ref or a judge that never judged or ref the championship fight to be involved in a championship fight. I remember when that used to be the standard. Like, if you don't have that championship on your resume, then you can't do any of the big fights. So this is where we would see the constant rotation of judges and refs, because these were the ones who had experience to uphold the tradition of championship boxing. Nowadays, I don't know where the fuck these judges come from. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they see what they see, even though us fans are looking at something completely different. Like, how did you see that fight going that way? How did Virgil Ortiz win his fight? How did Conceição win that fight? I can't look at it and say this is exactly what he did. That punch right there, that punch was the one punch out of all the punches in the round that outscored everything that he did. I can't look at that and say that. Nobody can.
Yeah, even on the replays, you see him. It was like he perfected that shoulder roll. It was just like boom, and like when even when it looked like it landed, I'm like, that shit landed like it fell down like right here, and that was just a glazing. I'm like, man, there was nothing there. It was Teflon. Yeah. Teflon Don that night. I mean, I ain't gonna say it was boring, like, but if you ain't into that, then you wasn't gonna be into that. But like, if you really was watching, it was like it was a Teflon Don that night.
Yeah.
Let me get your opinion on Raymond Muratalla and this whole ordeal with him, because I think that it's a play. I'm pretty much confirmed it. But you seen that Keyshawn thing, and then they got, you know what I'm saying, you looking at him. What do you think about him?
Muratalla?
Yeah.
He might be. Am I reading this wrong? But are you saying that Keyshawn and Muratalla might be headed on a collision course?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
That's a very, very interesting dynamic. It's looking like, Top Rank wants to test Keyshawn to make sure he's the goods before they put that Jared Anderson type of effort into him. Or this might be even bigger, based on him being able to shine with his brothers and stuff like that. But it's eventually going to be like, all right, Keyshawn, we built you on the platform of your brothers, but we want to see what you got. We want to just see you right now.
This is a test, and if he wins, he's gonna be right there for Baranchik.
Yeah.
Like what was stated, but what I'm saying is you got Raymond and he's like he's right there too. So I'm like, how is it gonna work? How is it gonna work? Because it's almost they created a monster, and this is why I always go back to the move that Shakur made when he asked that question. That's really what made me think when he said, well, is Tank gonna try to keep me away from the belt? I'm like, why did he say that? Tank got his belt and he over there on the island pretty much. The other two belts are over there with you. So if it was reported that it was a 3-fight or 5, I don't know, whatever it was at the time. If it was that many fights, you had the reason that it was going to be one of these contenders, and then one of them, either Loma or Baranchik.
Okay, so
because it was two different races being ran, but then you got Muratalla on under there. He running a race too, and they matched him with Tevin Farmer. You see what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, so, and then Tim had already told us that Navarrete had a signed contract with his name on it. So they was getting ready to do the whole what they do, where they line people up and they have this. They wasn't calling a tournament, but it was about it. If you looked at the moves and if you paid attention, that's how I pretty much knew he was going to go up there for Baranchik. But they got more tired. But go ahead.
But this is all right. So Keyshawn fighting what's the name? That lines him up for Baranchik, right?
Yep.
So Muratalla will come in there for the winner of Keyshawn versus Baranchik, or you think they're gonna have a fight?
No. I'm just saying it's going to come down to their performances and how they're going to move next, because they're kind of pitting them up against each other.
No, I could see that. I could see that. It's just for me looking at it and saying, all right, when do they meet? Do they meet for an interim scrap? I don't think that they would. I don't know. Or do they meet for a title defense scrap?
Wait, I think based on Muratalla and where he's at after this, because he don't care. He kept saying he don't care, but I'm like, he was saying it like it was like, man, dang, we can't get. Let me see something. I'm trying to look something up. I'm trying to get something up. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Look. It's gonna be interesting, man. It's gonna be interesting. Hold on, let me see. He's number 6 by the ring, right? He's ranked second by the WBO.
Yep.
fourth by the IBF,
Yep.
and second by the WBC.
Yep.
So we know Zepeda, if that go down, then Zepeda, and it's going to be Zepeda, and that locks him out of that door. Are people going to force him to try to go get the WBA from Tank? Or he's number 2 in the WBO and number 4 in the IBF. But who else is in that line? Either one of them lines and say they ain't going for the WBC because Shakur got it.
Uh-huh.
And
we
so what's
talking
shake?
About Muratalla, right?
Huh?
You talking about Muratalla, right?
No, I'm saying with Kish, yeah, with Muratalla, he's ranked second in the WBO.
Uh-huh.
He ranked number 4 in the IBF. Being where he's at, do you think they're gonna sit him over there with to try to see Tank?
No.
Because he's not mentioned there. Right? Shakur, he's saying he wanna do Zepeda, so that's out of the line. He's number 2 in the WBO, number 4 for the IBF.
See, I don't know if Shakur gets that Zepeda jump off, because here's what I think happens. And this is where I think the play might be for Muratalla as well. Just hop over and just look at the IBF real quick, and you tell me what you see. Hearing what some of these, alleged rumors are saying about Loma. If you think Loma's coming back or not?
Yeah, I think Loma coming back. Man.
Mm-hmm. You think so?
Yeah, I think he is. That's that make them sweat, try to make them sweat shit. You know what I'm saying? Which is only gonna, if you up there training and you getting your body together and that's what you really doing, because you know what I'm saying, you want the one up. Yeah, he coming back, man. That man ain't going out. I think they might try to. Let me look and see. Let me see. I was trying to get over here.
Because Zepeda's right there, sitting in the number 1 spot for the IBF.
And I don't think they would. I don't. Nah.
Keyshawn is number 3, and like you said, Muratalla is sitting at number 4. If Keyshawn's making a play at Bernacek, right? Zepeda versus Muratalla, if that fight can be made, if it's not some weird cross promotion thing, and either one of them fight for a possible champion in recess in Lomachenko, or they fight for the interim spot.
For one, I don't think they would put a buzzsaw in there like Zepeda with Loma. If he gonna do something like that, he might as well go for the big bag
And fight Tank, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is why I'm looking at it, because if you look at Loma's options, his 1 and 2 options look like a loss. The legacy of Loma is ruined if he goes in there and takes another loss.
Mm-hmm.
At least in public perception. You feel what I'm saying? Those of us who appreciate what he did and how he did it, we ain't gonna have too much of an issue with it. But public perception of legacy of Loma is pretty much done. If he racks up another loss, then all the talk is gonna be retire. So where does he go holding that IBF belt? You feel what I'm saying? Because you already had the bag fight right there with Tank. You had it in your hands. It was right there. You know what I'm saying? To pull out of that and say, I'm just gonna go chill with my family, says you having those heart-to-heart discussions with your family. Should I go out on top, or should I collect this last payday or so, and whatever. If you're not gonna do Tank, then you're looking at Zepeda. So I'm just having just a little I'm it's just like putting a thumbnail in that. Like, I'm gonna come back to that. Let me get a sticky note and put it right there, and write on that revisit in 3 weeks or before the end of the year. Revisit that, see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? As far as the WBO, it's the thing is, everybody, Zepeda's there for everybody. The hardest fight for Zepeda to make, in my opinion, is going to be, unless it's on the Turk or on the Riyadh card, is Shakur. The easiest fight for Zepeda to make, in my opinion, would still be fucking with Top Rank, and that's Bernacek or Wissening. I don't think Bob and Oscar have that kind of beef with each other where they won't do business. You feel what I'm saying? Or they get funky or whatever. So I could see them doing business first before Shakur. And both of those fights are a win-win fight for Zepeda.
Yeah, because it limits it. It limits it because this is what I started doing. And when I started doing this with unreasonable people, right, I get shot down, or I stopped doing it. But you got to reason that this myth or this thing that people can do, like they can do one-offs, like Canelo is about, probably Tank. They about the only one that you can do a one-off. Maybe, I mean, anyway, he got his own. But these guys, like, if you free and clear, these guys are not going to let you. This is why I kept trying to say, as a Shakur fan, as like, if I was in the Shakur fan, like, let's say I'm in the van with Shakur, I'm riding with him. I'm looking at it like, man, bro, you got to think about it like this. You skilled, brother. Ain't nobody going to let you, nobody really going to allow you to be able to sign up for one fight, go fight their champion. If you beat him, you got to walk. And that's what I was trying to say about Devin. I was like, man, I don't know how long this is going to work, because you jumping, you playing, you hopping and skipping, and you know what I'm saying, you jump from this one. And I was like, no, man, they want to know that if they, because we see what's going on with the belts. Where those belts been, man?
Yeah,
where they been? So when people try to act like they don't see it, but if you don't see it, just follow where the belts were. Where did they go? They've been in the same place. They just been changing hands on the same label. So these fighters got to consider that when they are, like, when they get free agent and they go move about, ain't who are really gonna let you have an opportunity or a shot at taking a champion, making a champion look bad, or ruining a champion. You taking their belt and then you going over to the next guy with it, and you playing ping pong. They're not going to do that. They play the long game with this boxing. So we got to consider that. So all these people that be thinking, oh man, I'll do this. I'm like, why do y'all even ask them kind of question? Because that you asking, you talking fantasy. These promoters ain't doing it. Like, they not let that dude. I'm gonna give you one example, and I'll let you like speak on what I'm talking about. I'll give you one example. Tito Mercado, he can kiss it, get by trying to see any Devin Haney. He probably won't get a Richardson Hitchens anytime soon. That Tito Mercado, that dude is dangerous enough to where he ain't. They're gonna have to pay some bread or get some people around and make him move, because he not gonna get it. You see how they doing somebody like Boots? I ain't saying this guy's like Boots, but I'm just saying the way these guys operate, when these guys are trying to, when they coming up and they reaching, they're not going to just offer up their champion on a one-off, just like at the risk or the sake of whatever. That's why you had to look more critical at the Brian Norman situation, because he's like, man, yeah, I could get that bread, but if I go over there, I do that, and I pull a T.O. with Cambosa spike this belt out, you know what I'm saying? I'm damaged goods. Like, what you gonna do with me now? People didn't want to fight you before. You see what I'm saying? They didn't want to. Yeah. You was a tough out anyway. But that's it, man. That's where I was. This
is the issue. Like, when we looking at just Keyshawn, Muratalla, and Zepeda. Just when we're looking at those three and trying to figure out, all right, where do they fit in, and what are these champions doing about these three guys?
With Zepeda, you could take him off the board because once he make his select, he get past Farmer, he make his selection. That's going to be chosen for whoever Oscar is going to really be serious about. So you could take him off the board. He already in front of all these guys. He just got to win. So
Exactly.
let's just say he won. He gonna pick one. So then
So it's like, all right, we could take him off, but there's still that question mark on who he picks, because it's his race to run right now, and he's gonna pick whatever lane he gonna run that race, whether he's gonna be in the first or the ninth lane, but he's gonna be in one of those lanes, and he's gonna be able to pick all of that when it comes down. Go ahead.
So this if I had to make an educated guess, this is what's gonna happen. Either Turkey gonna put out a bag and say, hey man, I got this big bag, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be you and Shakur. That's one option. I don't think he can pick Loma, but I think Loma, depending on how they go about it, Loma might, he might try to do that high road shit. And I don't know if you doing business that way. I don't know, man. I think that would be up to Loma.
Uh-huh.
Because Loma would be like, well, I don't know, man. I mean, I think that would have to be up to Loma, because you gotta think. Loma said it wasn't about the money with Tank. So you're gonna fight this young, strong, hungry guy that's going, like, he works and works. Are you gonna pick him? Or are you gonna, you know what I'm saying? Are you gonna go through with that?
So
with
you
this,
saying,
I'm about to walk away stuff. I'm old now. Like, I done aged since May, since I stopped Cambosis, I done got so old I can't even entertain.
so
like,
you saying Loma's gonna fight an Andy Cruz or Abdulev or some shit like that? He just gonna pick who he wanna pick. Be like, fuck it, I'm Lomachenko.
He might get I don't know, man. They get real creative, man.
Andy Cruz is seventh, and Zor Abdulev is fifth. In between that, you got Gustavo Limos, Muratalla, and Keyshawn.
I gotta look. He got until, how long do Loma got?
Just look, see between where Shakur is, where Shakur is looking at what he looking at, moving down, looking at what Loma's looking at, what he looking down, and Bernachek. These three guys got nothing but tough competition in their first three. Tank has it as well, because he's got Zepeda, Schofield, and De Los Santos right there. But I think I don't have. It's Tank though.
I don't know, man. Loma in the tough one, man. I gotta see how long he got. I knew at one point in time how long he got to defend, how long he has before that's even,
That's why I'm trying to. I'm looking at it, and it just seems just my opinion. It might be. I could see Muratalla being lined up in the WBO. I could see that easy, but I can also see the play, of what he's doing in the IBF. Because
would that be his safe? Now that's the question for you. Now, was that the safe? Is that the safest option?
In my opinion, yeah.
You're a realist, man. That's why I like, you're a realist, man. You're a realist, man. That's why I say, man, it might be the safest option. But you see what the show is about. Yeah. And I say the pressure, and because I think they ordered him special delivery. They want him to look spectacular. This opponent ain't nothing like Limos with what Keyshawn got, and I can see them You know, they Horn wants us to kill. Bob wants us to kill each other. Like, remember that movie Gladiator?
Exactly.
With Cuban Gooding. Horn wants us to kill each other. You know, yeah. Because this is a business, and y'all all can't share the same pants leg, man. It's only 2 pair of drawers in there, and there's 3 of y'all.
Yep. Exactly. Somebody going commando. For real. Or wearing some dirty drawers from the day before, bro. It's one or the other. You know what I'm saying? But just looking at it, it's just like, ugh, this is exciting. But it's going, you know, depending on how they play it, if they play it right, it's just gonna be, you know, it's a buffet in a 3-star, in a 5-star hotel or whatever. Everybody gonna enjoy it if they play it right between the IBF and the WBO, and Top Rank being in the mix with all of this. Where it gets a little ugly is figuring out what's going on between the WBA and the WBC, and that's Tank and Shakur. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I want to say it's a year for the IBF. When I thought June. I think Loma did that. When was that? June? Cambosos? Well, it don't matter, but I think it's a year. I want to say. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, y'all. I mean, I knew it, but I just wasn't into that. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. You know, I think it's all eyes on Loma now. He getting man. They so gracious now, man. They so gracious, and so he's earned. I'm like, everybody done earned.
Yeah, everybody done earned.
Man, they got beat up 3 times, arguably 4 if you count Ortiz, and now everybody's earned the right to. Come on, man. I'm like, ooh wee, boy. Them standards and them goalposts, man.
Real like lottery numbers, bro. Them shit's constantly moving. Real.
Did you get to see Jahi at the weigh-in?
No, I got the weigh-ins pulled up. I'm gonna watch it and after that chat. My schedule lately just been bananas. But you know, I'm getting it together, and I just spent the late night just on everybody's playback. Well, just you and Pop's playback, basically, if I missed the show.
But yeah, go look at it, man. I think he look in shape, but I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on, man. I hope he starts separating himself, and he refine his image, and he go out there and, man, I want him to start sparking people so he won't get lost in the sauce, because he's up against it. He's up against it with the Milnickies and he's up against other cultures and all that. And you know how Top Rank get to a point to where it's like, all right, because they, you know, this is the microwave popcorn. If you ain't, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't popping off, you know what I'm saying? You on borrowed time. So I want to see some growth and want to see him finish, you know, and buckle that, bite down, man. Because that's what I've been calling it the glory days, even though it ain't really the glory days. But I've been thinking back, like when one time was one time, and how these guys really wasn't trying to leave it up there. Like if you was like Paulie, where that was your thing, where that's how you had to get it, you know what I'm saying? And you already know, more than likely. But them guys wasn't leaving it up to. They was not trying. They're like, okay, it might be the 9th round before I pour it on, but at some point, I'm gonna really, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, but you gonna fuck me up. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're losing that, and I want him to grab hold of that, because this going to the scorecard shit.
Yeah,
it's no bueno.
Yeah, it's like, bro, y'all, there's nothing wrong with what they, you know, with selling out. If that's what they want to call it nowadays. Nah, you got to sell out and go all out. And I'm like, sell out? I mean, he's not losing a fight. It's not like someone's telling him he needs a knockout. You know what I'm saying? But apply a little bit more pressure, and you could get this motherfucker out of here on the TKO.
Yeah, create the separation so that it's a different. Like, you might not have shown them there's levels, but you can show them that it's differences, because it's differences and then it's levels. Yeah.
Like, I don't have to be on your level to show you that my mindset is you're on a high level, but you rather take it to the put it in the judge's hands because you're confident in what the performance that you feel that the judges just saw. Me, I don't got that kind of confidence.
Right.
You hear what I'm saying? I'm so hard on myself. I just don't have that confidence. So I don't want to leave it up to them judges. You know, I just want to put this motherfucker out. And if I feel I can't knock him out, I'm gonna put enough hands on him where the ref is gonna stop it, or his corner's gonna say, "Nah, this is it. Good fight. You're young. We want you to, you know, we want you to fight another day. There's no going out on your shield today, young man." Do you feel what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, man, I don't have a problem if coaches or corners stop fights in the corner, or if a young fighter and say, no, it's just not your day. You're being outboxed, you're being punished too much. You know, this guy is just different. You know?
Yeah.
So,
And shout out to SoCal, the great. What up, Rob's family, GTD. Salute, SoCal, salute.
so it is what it is. But go ahead, bro.
Yeah, man. That's it in a nutshell. I was gonna go over the dimensions. I'm like, man, I'm losing my motivation, AC, man. It's like the more and more I listen, it's like I gotta stop. I gotta tune out. I was telling my last, I gotta tune out, man. I gotta tune out and just focus on what I see and what I want to put out, what I want put out there, man, because I'm losing confidence, man. We argue about, man, you see some of the dumbest shit we've been arguing about for weeks. You hear about the art. I'm like, what? At the end of the day, I'm like, what the fuck we arguing about? You about to expose somebody with what? Because a venue was moved? Like, do you see how, like, this shit is dumb, bro?
Yeah. Like, it's things get so saturated that the level of content, people want to debate nuances, and it's like, what? This shit ain't theoretical physics, man. This shit ain't
nuances.
Politics. Fucking
damn,
nuances, bro.
Damn, you right. That's what. Yeah, I'm like, what? That's a great, man. That's a great one. That's nuances. That's what they. I'm like, that's you.
Yeah, it's like
you fighting the oxygen. It's like you trying to plug the oxygen in the head. Like,
yeah,
you know, I'm like, well, how you gonna plug the oxygen in the head? Oh man,
Crush the Legend like that shit, man. Just
Luke Crush.
Trying to chat with somebody like that. It's frustrating and draining, because you're not gonna get the level of back and forth to say, all right, we're arguing a hypothetical, right? But or we're debating a hypothetical, but at least have the hypothetical based in some sort of fact. So if it does happen, a person could say, oh shit, wow. We had you go back to our joint, you know, we had that debate, and you know, here's that fight in fruition. So yeah, sometimes it's good practice just to try to read the tea leaves and say, listen, this is what I'm seeing by the way these sanctioning bodies moving, and look at these strategic plays. It's chess, not checkers. If a dude moved his bishop, it's like, all right, I'm looking at your bishop. You move black bishop over here. What are you trying to threaten over there? What's your end game? Whose game are you playing right now? And when you could sit there and you debate, you know, the moves and everything, then you get into this. Then you get into the actual of what is really possible. And then we start to actually see things the way the promoters see it, the way the business people see it. And then it's like, yeah, my feelings are completely gone, because I see everything for what it is. I see it from the fighter's perspective, and I see it from the promoter's perspective, even though I really don't, whether I agree or disagree, this is how they're gonna move, and watch. Because that shit right there don't make no sense. So you could debate that if you want to, but it doesn't really make any sense until it makes sense.
And let me ask you something. I'm gonna wrap it up soon, but let me ask you something, man. I was trying to figure out how do I view this situation, right? Because I remember, right? Because in the lead up to the Tim Tszyu and Muratalla fight, they were saying, well, this man made what they say? They said this man made like $1 million in step aside. And the argument was, well, how bad did he want to fight if, you know, he kept taking step aside? And they say the same thing about Manchester Giannis when Giannis was doing it to allow Earl and Spence to get it on. He wound up getting burned in the end, but I mean, he got some bread. But this situation where I find it just weird. It's like Muratalla. I don't want to do this, man. But just like I was saying with Saburo, man, I'm like, it's gonna look weird, man, if I start like doing videos about this dude because nobody is saying his name. And he said all he want is the winner of Fundora and Spence or Bud. Now in that situation, Bud actually agreed to allow that fight to go forward. So I'm like, that's a step aside, ain't it? By definition, what is that? And we're gonna call it an agreement, but is it a step aside or not?
No, it's a step aside.
Okay, so that was granted, and I'm like, okay, so that's a different kind of step aside. But I'm like, what's the end game when Canelo is running around and he ain't saying nothing about Bud? But people are mad that Earl's getting ready to fight Fundora if it go down. So I'm trying to put a pulse on that whole ordeal and how to view it, because if you look at it, it's like some people get crucified for allowing it. Because if you want that belt, or you do whatever, if you want them to pop it off, you would do some shit like what Shakur did. Well, he was like, fuck, I'm going to the sanctioning body. Just like even with the Heron shit, when he went to the sanctioning body and got that shit flipped, like got that pay scale all flipped. Like he do that. He gonna go to the sanctioned body and take advantage. These are my benefits. I want this. That's Shakur. But I was trying to think about this whole 54 situation, and is this recency bias for Muratalla looking at what he did to Tszyu? Is this weird that ain't nobody really addressing them? I ain't heard nobody from Boots Camp say, even when they move up, they just saying Virgil. This guy is resembling how it looked when Saburo, you know what I'm saying, grabbed a hold of that strap and everybody acting like that. And when somebody finally get in there, they might can box or however, the tune gonna change. I'm seeing this story play out. So that's really what I've been looking at, man, on some looking forward stuff. That and the Richardson, Hitchens, and Paro fight. And I think that's gonna be a sneaky good fight. That's gonna be a very good fight, bro.
Yeah.
What do you think about all of that? Okay,
I'll start with the latter. I'm also really, really looking forward to the Richard Hitchison fight and Paro fight. I think that no matter what card that's going to be on, that could be fight of the night. Looking at what's going on with Bakaram, you'd have to say it's. If I'm gonna use any previous example, I'm gonna say that's too much of a resemblance of when Matthias got up there and Matthias snatched that belt, because there was a lot of people talking about guys could go up and go fight Bakaram, and then they could get in the mix of these champions and shit like that, and this person can challenge this person to get that fight with Bakaram. And now people seen what Bakaram did to Tim Tszyu. Question is did Bakaram do something he wasn't supposed to do and beating Tim Tszyu the way he beat him, and now he might get shelved as punishment for that?
That's been, that's almost like, because the reaction, man, like I was like,
it's
man,
crazy.
I'm gonna tell you, bro, like it's the same thing when Fundora beat Lubin, and Lubin was in that fight. He just decided to stand in front of that man, and he hit him with about 16, 17 uppercuts consecutively, right? after that, they said the man had something in his gloves. I said, man, we gotta stop, bro. Like, and after that Murtaza stuff happened with Zoo, they said the man might have been on. They said he was on this, and he might have had something in his gloves. I was just like, man, like that. It almost made. I was like, man, I'm about to take a break from this shit, man. We cannot do that, bro. Like, you know how I'm gonna say kitty cat we look when we talk like that, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's disgusting to me. I'm like, man, because the guy you didn't want. I mean, everybody was saying Zoo. We was giving Zoo his credit for, trying to emerge up out of his father's shadow, but he got knocked out. It happens. I said all the time, Pacquiao got face planted. And I say he need to hang it up, and I was like, the dude's still trying to fight.
Yeah, and that's after he already had 2 losses.
So I said that, man. It's this weird underlying feeling like Baccarat wasn't supposed to win, bro.
Yeah, and
that's the vibe I'm getting. Like, you messed up the church's money,
and that's the vibe I'm getting, because it's just like nobody wants to mention Baccarat's name. Nobody. The only person that I've seen, and that's an alleged type of thing, that Bud said he would fight him. Other than that, I haven't seen anybody mention Baccarat's name. Not nobody at 47, not anybody at 47 who was talking about coming up to 54, and nobody at 54. Except an alleged.
I got a scowl for that. Because I was waiting. I'm like, man, because I like I said in the beginning, it's like I stopped doing content on Bud because it's a trap. It's a loaded. I call them. People are doing loaded videos now, man. Like, you have loaded questions, but you got loaded videos. So I don't like doing it because people would turn it into something else, and then they'll make you look like, it's like, well, why are you doing a video? It's like, no, I'm not going to over embellish. I'm just going to tell the truth. I want to know this. I want to do that. I want to show this. I want to show that. But when you start speaking the facts, people start like getting in their feelings, man. So
because I used to say this real fast. I used to say this to people. I said, I'm sorry if my facts are fucking up your truth. Don't get mad at me that my facts constantly fuck up your truth. So it is what it is, bro. So some people just get bent out of shape because they willing to live and die over their truths.
Yeah, and then just to wrap it up, man, I heard like people was recommending for Earl, because I'm split on him coming back. I don't want to get in between that Derek stuff. I can't stand that happened, man. And I got my opinion on it, but I can't stand that happen. I just know that Earl, if he can continue to be in the sport, man, I just hope that he gonna do it right. Hope that he gonna find a trainer and he gonna commit the time, and he ain't gonna make it to where he gonna do anything just to get back in that ring again and just get, no matter what condition or whatever. But I haven't been seeing much about it, so I'm kind of divided on him coming back. But people were saying he should go to Reynoso and Bill Haney or Bozy. I was like, man, none of that. All those are conflicts of interest to me. Only thing that kind of makes sense is if he, because I think he'll more likely fight Virgil than he would Lubin. That's just me. But I was saying Coach Kevin Cunningham, would be a good look, or Coach Calvin, because there's no conflict unless he do plan on fighting Lubin at some point. Okay, then no. But Coach Calvin ain't no conflict of interest because ain't nobody associated with it, and you know what I'm saying. That's a they had, so I don't know. I'm still waiting on info from about Spence, but
yeah, for me, I've always, since that whole thing happened with him and Derek James, and I was on the panel and we were all trying to come up with coaches. I said, for me, I think the coach that would get Errol Spence to where he wants to be. And I think if he got with this guy, I see him being undisputed, within a couple of years. And I said that coach to me is Winky Wright. I think you put Errol Spence with a Winky Wright, that's a problem, bro. Because I just always get giddy when I think of the two of them working out together, and then Winky showing them, saying that you don't have the arm length that I have, but you do have a nice high guard that I seen you parry and counter offer. So I'm gonna show you some nice little tricks.
Man, is he coaching?
Who, Winky?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I haven't seen Winky in years, but I hope he still is coaching, because I'm like, and I said it back then, like, Errol, if you listen and if someone clipped this or whatever, bro, just give Winky a call and see what he say. Just have a conversation with him and see if y'all click.
That's a good idea. That's outside the box thinking too, and it makes sense. Cause I was hearing people say that you need to get somebody that's gonna teach him head movement. I'm like, man, at this point in time, man, teaching them head movement, like, Errol set in his ways, you know what I'm saying? Somebody like Winky would be able to show him how to fight out of that hard guard, but trying to get this dude to become a slip guy, like, nah, man, like nah, man.
He don't need nobody to try to, press a round peg in a square hole. He just needs someone to, say, listen, these are all your strengths. We're going to build on your strengths, and by us building up your strength, it's going to close the doors on your weaknesses. Because there are plenty of fighters who have solid weaknesses, but you just can't get them to expose it, because their strengths are the things that shut it down. It's not their defense, it's just their strengths.
Yeah, like I think Pueblo is almost like remember when Mike Tyson punch out? Remember how the only way to get King Hippo was you got to hit him in the gut?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't do that, he gonna beat the shit out of you. I think Pueblo like that, man. If you gonna beat Pueblo, you gotta go to his body, cause he long and rangy. But if you get to that body, you know what I'm saying? It's just like that game, bro. It's just like that game. Not the style, but like that concept where you hit him in his stomach enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what you got to do. Other than that, man, he gonna outbox the shit out you, man. Like,
yeah, exactly.
He just gonna outbox the shit. He got a smooth ass style, bro. Like, that shit is like cold. He cold, man.
David Benavidez's weakness is his body as well, but his strength is his high guard, and the fact that he used his lead leg to lean back in a high guard, which covers everything. And when you try to go for it, you have to constantly overreach to hit his body, and he makes you pay. This is why people don't try to hit David Benavidez in the body, because when you go to his body, he makes you pay. It's not a defensive thing that he's moving out the way or got, crazy body movement where he's slipping a punch like that. He has a smart, well-developed high guard that allows him to lure you in, and then when you go in, you get caught. Same thing with Canelo.
Yeah, you could tell. So in that essence, he been studying them. He been stuck, because that lean back with his height and his reach, that shit dangerous, because you thinking, oh shit, I missed. And then you just stand up straight, like, and you in range.
Boom, you got to right over the
top
on you. Boom! I done seen David Benavidez do that shit at least 100 times. And I'm like, when the fuck are people gonna know you don't go to the to be able to go to the body with David Benavidez? You gotta be extra special and extra fast, because his strength is on the inside, but he knows how to protect his body, which is his weakness. Like, how do you beat that dude? How do you beat that dude? How do you close the distance to even attack the body when you in close, when he could throw those little short, fast combinations that he loves to throw? And then as soon as you back out, he's just throwing bombs at you now. Boom, boom, boom. And it's like, oh my God, bro, this kid, man, he's a problem. That's why I like him. That's
So
why
I'm not gonna ask you who wins between him and Nello then.
who between Benavidez and Canelo.
Yeah.
I've always had Benavidez beating Canelo for the same thing. Both of them are really good, but Canelo can be controlled from mid range to outside. I have not yet seen David Benavidez controlled from mid range to outside. I haven't seen him controlled from any parts, but I've seen Canelo get controlled from different aspects. Canelo's the stupidest thing anybody could do is to fall for Canelo's peekaboo
Yeah.
or try to fight Canelo on the inside.
See, what's Caleb, he did it, but he got away with a lot of holding.
Yeah.
Clinching. He did the clinch, and that was up to the ref. That's why I say, man, that ref too, because I mean he didn't get penalized for it. So obviously he played chess to a certain extent. But like I haven't seen anybody be able to withstand David Benavidez in that arsenal he got. He grew on me. I gave him a hard time. I probably said, you know what, I ain't picking against him. I said I had already laid it up for him and Morrell, and right now I don't know, because just like David been chasing Canelo, David been chasing David. So it's like when you obsessed with somebody and you watching their moves, and you, especially in that boxing, like when that guy that beat Kakachi, who beat Joe Cordina.
Yeah.
Not a knockout artist, but he was obsessed with that dude, and he knew, you know what I'm saying, oh, he liked to do this, and it looked like they thought he was a killer, you know what I'm saying, because he picked him apart because of studying him and watching him, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and boxing is the one sport where I could say obsession is key. Obsess over the nigga you about to fight, because once you obsess, you learn him. And once you learn him in the ring, it may be a different look. Like, yeah, it was different looking at the tape than being in the ring, because he's actually now in front of me. But if you can get past that mental part, then you could go on and your obsession will start to do its thing and give you those keys to victory. You know, but you just got to get over the mental part that, yeah, I did all of this studying, but shit is different now that he's in front of me.
That's why I think Tio don't want no parts of Keyshawn.
Yeah. And
you might say, like, I look at it and say, man, you know what? That's a very interesting fight. That's a very, very interesting fight for me. But I'm thinking, man, Tio might know something, man, because it was like Keyshawn was like, I want him. You know, I don't know what Keyshawn at and where he at, if he still want that. You know, right now, right? Well, he might. You know, last time I seen something, when he was brought up, he was like, yeah, he would want to be that guy. But I think Tio knows that about Keyshawn. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up, man. I appreciate you as always for jumping in and adding on, man. You always add, you know, sprinkling that little, you know, that shit tickled me, man. How you do that, man? You add that, like, that little nuance. I couldn't even put my finger on it quite. I was like, man, what the fuck are we arguing? We arguing about a fucking nuance? You can't even fucking grasp that shit. It's like, god damn, there go my nuance. You know?
Yeah, molecules in the air and shit. Like, what is that? Oh, let me just grab that and let's argue this finite point right here.
I'm like, what does it mean, bro? It just mean we ain't getting it in December, we're getting it in January, dude. Get over it. It's like 1,000 boxers out here, cuz.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That we could be talking about. But I appreciate your input, man. It keep me grounded, bro.
For sure, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Great show, man.
Have a good evening, man.
You too, man.
All right. Yeah, man. AC always come through with the he had them analogies. And he's one of them guys, man. I'm gonna tell you, man, why I like him, because he's still gonna be a fan of who he likes, but he will take the time to understand where you're coming from, and he's rational enough. I'm telling you, he's the most rational Devin Haney fan I know. He's the most rational Devin Haney fan I know. Because he don't get caught in the bullshit, and he critically thinks, he assesses, and he don't harbor all that other shit and make these attachments to where it's like, no, you know, so many fans do that. So many fans do that. I don't agree with a lot of stuff that a lot of my guys do. I don't try to defend it. You know what I'm saying? The most I do is point out somebody's hypocrisy, you know, on it. You know what I'm saying? And I walk away. Why? Because at the end of the day, if I'm not seeing my favorite fighter fight, what I'm gonna sit there and argue with you for days about? You know, I thought it'd be a good segment to bring these guys up. I know Schofield, he had an interview out here tonight. Fill out that survey that I put on the community page. Who you think might steal this weekend? I think it's gonna be Muratalla, and it's not because he's the most skilled or he's the most whatever dangerous. No, it's not because of that. It's because of the opponent they brought in and them in this race that him and Keyshawn Davis are running. It's only 2 pair of draws over there, man. It's three, you know what I'm saying? It's 3 people. Somebody gonna have to get in there. I mean, Shakur, he took another route, you know, he's out of it, but that's what I see happening. And I think that they're gonna put a lot of pressure if Muratalla comes out and performs the way I think he is with this guy they got lined up. He got like a 7-inch reach over this dude, about a couple inches in height, and he looked big as shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't look, you may say it or nothing, he looked big. He gonna rehydrate. He got the cornrows. He about to go ball rock style tomorrow. So I think he's probably gonna have it. Kid Austin, he's always in a rough tumble fight. I want to see a little more polish from him. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to all them winging. You can't, if you talk about getting in there with Tank and you cocking back and you winging, woo-hoo, it's gonna look like Rolly. It's gonna look like Rolly. So I think it's a lot of pressure on him. AC hit the nail on the head with Oshaquie, man. You know, I don't think it's gonna be designed for this man to walk away with the belt for political purposes, man, and the marketing and the fights and the, you know what I'm saying, the trilogies, all that stuff that's going on. Because there's still some players and they're gonna use them accordingly. Jahi, I just think he got the pressure of, and me, I'm a manufacturer, a little bit of pressure and say, listen, man, show up and show out so more people can do videos and talk about you. You got fans everywhere, man. Don't get gate kept. Don't let people keep the gate on you, man, and try to hold you back from people, you know what I'm saying, being able to, you know, support you, bro. That's all I really had, man. I ask that you support the channel, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't. If you catch on the playback, holler at me, talk to me. I'll talk back. This fruits and veggies, not that Reggie. That fact-based content. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm gonna do a recap, and I might do a piece called "Once Upon a Time" for Keith Thurman, man. I've been looking at some old highlights, and in my heart of hearts, man, what really should be happening is Keith Thurman and Errol Spence should be fighting, and then depending on how that goes, the next move would have happened. But I think as far as inactivity and where they at in their history, they can make a lot of bread. They can get it on. I know Spence want to get the title and all that, but as a Spence fan, I'm not one of them guys like how the Wilder fans who just wanted him to keep getting in there till he get beat to sleep. I hope Spence is doing the right thing, you know, and know he still got fans. Ain't nobody throw him away. But it's interesting to see. You know what I'm saying? I hope he pick a trainer soon and start locking in and start training. You know what I'm saying? So he don't have to do a fat camp and all that, and he get active, you know, and we get, you know, what we want. I don't know what's gonna happen as far as Spencer Fundor. I'm not sure. But that's pretty much, I think that's everything I wanted to get to. It's gonna be an excellent it's gonna be an excellent day of boxing. I think it's gonna start. One of them gonna start at like 5. One of them gonna start at like 6. It's gonna be a lot of fights on tomorrow night, man. It's gonna be some legacy stuff like Gabriel Fundor. Big fight implications with Oshaquie. That's a title fight. Big fight implications with Raymond in this race that him and this guy Keyshawn, this race that they running. You know. But I appreciate everybody, man. I normally keep them down to an hour, but it's Friday. I didn't do nothing yesterday. I've been peekabooing as far as being a fan and then doing whatever, because like, man, I have higher hopes for the boxing conversations, man. I do. I really do, man. Maybe I'm picky. Maybe I might be getting bougie as far as it, man. But I don't care for a lot of the dumb shit that's going on. A lot of shit that's promotion ain't really promoting nothing, because at the end of the day, we ain't getting the fight. Yikes. But that's it, man. That's all I had, man. Thanks for stopping through. Thanks for hollering at your boy. Thanks for coming in, Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Body.